Welcome to the Back Nine Six Pack with Mitch and Justin. Let's roll.
Hello and welcome to episode 24 of the Back Nine Six Pack. My name is Mitch, joined as always by my esteemed colleague Justin. The universe has just not wanted us to do these Ryder Cup podcasts.
Apparently not. I got on the road. Some serious technical difficulties. We are obviously amateurs at this whole podcasting thing. Or the Wi-Fi that I paid $5 to upgrade just decided not to work. I don't know. But, yeah. So, take number 2 of the second Ryder Cup show that we're doing.
Yeah, the technical difficulties is a wide-ranging umbrella in this case, but we're just going to leave that behind the paywall.
Yeah, we're going to leave it at technical difficulties.
I did want to just real quick off the top shout out to Nick, who could not make it tonight because our boy's a teacher. He's got parent-teacher conferences. But I did my best to collect some of his notes and thoughts that I'll hopefully do him proud by mentioning throughout the episode. So again, shout out to Nick. Sorry he's not here tonight.
Yeah, we're in full blown conference. We're in full blown conference time now because I had this tonight. I did not have conferences. My wife had conferences, and it was a mad dash to get the kids in bed by myself and get down here in time to do this. So.
Which honestly is kind of crazy. I mean, my wife's a teacher too, and we're only like a month into the school year. What are we doing with conferences this early?
These shitty kids these days, apparently they need them pretty quickly. So,
I guess so. Speaking of shitty kids, you and Kyle made the trip to Bloomington.
Oh yeah, so we were in Bloomington, Indiana, when we had our technical difficulties.
Yeah.
We played in the Tri-State Invitational, which is, I think this year was the 84th year that they've had it. It pretty much pits Indiana versus Kentucky versus Ohio. You've got 8 teams that are considered juniors, which is under 55. Then you have per state, 8 teams per state under 55, and then you have 8 teams for the senior division, which is over 55 for each state. It's not match play or anything like that. It's one day of best ball, one day of alternate shot, and we tally up the top 5 scores. And this year, the juniors from Ohio came out on top. We were on the winning side of things. We did not play well on Monday. Best ball, but alternate shot for whatever reason seems to be the best format for us as partners. It was a super tough course. The foul course is, just put it blatantly, is really, really hard. They could easily host a USGA event, and I'm talking like a USAM. They could host one tomorrow. I mean, they really, really could. It's 7,900 yards from the tips. The guy that we played with the first day put it best. He was like, "This place is rugged," and I was like, "That's a weird way to describe." Have you ever heard a golf course described that way before?
No, but I don't know if I want to play one that's described that way.
But then I started thinking about it. Literally 2 holes later, I was like, somehow that's like the perfect word for this. So there's eyelashes everywhere. There's natural grass everywhere. They did it to be eco-friendly. They've tried to redo this course several times. There was already a course there when they redid it. And they completely blew it up. No hole is the same. But it kept getting shot down by the EPA for whatever reason. So they left a lot of natural areas. This grass, what they call, it's a mix of like fescue and like what they call it, like Indian grass, something like that. But it's nasty. I mean, and it's rugged. You got rocks in the bunker, these natural bunkers. But man, I'm worn out. My golf game's worn out. It's like you could be 50 yards out and you think, oh, I don't have to think about this. And you can make double from 40 yards out on your second shot pretty easily. So Yeah, it was a cool experience. I think we probably qualified to go back next year, which is back in Cincinnati. So it's always a fun time. That was my second one I played in. So
Nice. What? Where's it at in Cincinnati?
so it's going to be at Miami View next year. Which,
Okay.
I mean, Miami View's okay. I mean, it's always in good shape, but after the last 2 years, the 2 courses we've had it at, I think it's definitely a step down. I mean, and that's not fair to Miami View. I don't want to
Yeah.
I'm not talking crap about Miami View by any means, but when you talk about Idlehour, which is probably the number 1 course in Kentucky, and the Foul course, which is probably right behind, the ones in French Lick, which are like a Pete Dye, and they have a Donald Ross out there. That's a pretty high standard to set, considering those were my first 2 ones I played in. So, but it'll be fun. It'll be nice to not travel next year. So.
Yeah. Well, I guess that's a good transition point. Then, speaking of traveling, the U.S. team's going on the road to Europe, to Rome, for the Ryder Cup this year. Last episode, if you guys haven't listened yet and you're listening to this now, go back and check out episode 23. We did a recap of the 2021 Ryder Cup at Whistling Straits, which was a dominant win for the U.S. and kind of gave us some good perspective on just, where the team was then, where, the team is now. I think they're returning 8 of the 12 players on the U.S. side. The Euro team has had a ton of turnover. They've gotten a lot younger. So it's just really interesting to see, just 2 years ago, how different the squads are now. So, yeah, I definitely recommend going back and listening to that one. But now we turn our eyes forward. We are a week from tomorrow to the start of the Ryder Cup. Cannot wait. Figured we get this one done a little bit early so people have more time to listen to it ahead of the event. But do you want me to kick us off? We're going to kind of run through the teams and talk about some pairings and things we might see or want to see. Do you want to go USA first?
I'll kick off the USA team here. Let's start out with the captains. We're going to start vice captains first. We got Stuart Sink. Obviously, been there, done that. I think that's a good choice for a vice captain. Fred Couples is just the vibe, man. I mean, I don't think there's a Ryder Cup without Fred Couples being a vice captain. Jim Furyk. Love Jim Furyk. Not crazy about him being a vice captain. I thought maybe someone might get a stab at it for the first time, maybe other than him. But Davis Love III. Gosh, I don't know how many times he's been a vice captain. It feels like it's probably been 50 times at this point. And obviously last year, Davis Love III has been a vice captain on, I think, like the last 15 or 20 President's Cup and Ryder Cups. Like it's pretty insane.
He's been a captain at least twice in the Ryder Cup.
Yeah.
So.
Well, yeah, but I'm just saying, like, he's been vice captain a lot too. Obviously, 2 years ago, Steve Stricker getting the win as a captain is now back as a vice captain. And then my man, 5-time Ryder Cupper, the best Iowan I know of. I don't think there's anybody above him that's from Iowa. Zachary Johnson. Now, I see your face. There's so much disapproval in my love for Zach Johnson. It's okay, though. You'll love him eventually, probably in about a week.
Hopefully.
All right, let's move on to the players. We have Ricky Fowler. This obviously he's a veteran coming back after missing one. We have a rookie in Sam Burns. You'll see maybe later when we talk about some betting things that I think I might like a little Sam Burns in my life and here in a week. And we got Patty. We're gonna call him Patty Ice until the end of the Ryder Cup. Patrick Cantlay, even though I hate that nickname.
God.
We have another rookie in Wyndham Clark, the U.S. Open champion. We have the Open golfer of the year, Brian Harmon. Believe he's another rookie. Then we have another rookie in Max Homa. Side note on Max Homa, I hope he gets to play more than I think he. I have a feeling he's not going to get to play much, but we'll talk about that in a little bit. Brooks Koepka's back this year, even though he's a live guy. Played well enough. He's had an incredible year in the majors, which included a win at the PGA. Colin Morikawa, looking forward to big things out of him again this year. Xander Schauffele, or as I say when the ball's going left or right, softly instead of softly, I say Schauffele. Scotty Scheffler's back for his second Ryder Cup. Odds-on favorite for a lot of the betting from what I saw today. I'm kind of preparing for this episode for highest point getter and total and on the team. Harking Jordan Spieth. We might have some bets for him later today too. And then the man that seems to be playing well at the right time, even though everybody thinks he shouldn't be on the team, Justin Thomas. And that rounds out your 2023 U.S. Ryder Cup team.
Yeah, I think looking back at 2021, like I said, that one they had 6 rookies. And for this team to have 4 rookies on top of those 6 from last time blew my mind when I realized that fact. Kind of crazy just to see how that all shook out. I mean, obviously, Wyndham Clark and Brian Harman both won majors and qualified, so that's a big part of them being rookies on this team. But then Max qualified as well as a rookie, but he had President's Cup experience along with Sam Burns, the other rookie. Both of them were on the President's Cup squad last fall, so at least they've got some, international match play experience under their belt. But yeah, I mean, this felt like the 12 that the U.S. had to take over here pretty much. I mean, there was all the Cam Young versus, Sam Burns versus Keegan Bradley conversation, but feels like this is the right group.
Yeah, I think when you look at some of the guys that got left off, I think if one of them were on there, I would feel some regret if we lost. Like, man, what if we brought this guy? With this team, I we roll in. If we lose, it just wasn't meant to be, right? I think if you throw, if you throw Cam Young on there and he doesn't play well and we lose, if you throw, Tony Finau was in the conversation, obviously, Keegan, those guys, if we go over there and lose with those guys, I'm like, man, I really would have loved to see what JT could have done. Now that we kind of know that they're out and he's in, if we can't win this year, it's it's not meant to be for a while, because as we're going to find out when you go through the European team, this team's going to be good for a little bit. So
yeah, that's a good transition point. I'll go ahead and jump in with the Euro squad. I'll do the same thing you did. We'll start out with vice captains. Why not? So Thomas Bjorn and Eduardo Molinari were selected actually by Stenson when he was supposed to be the captain before getting the boot once he joined Liv. But the captain, Luke Donald, kept them around. So Nicholas Colsart, Jose Maria Olazabal, and Francesco Molinari, got the Molinari brothers out there in Rome, were the selections by Luke Donald, this year's captain for the Euro squad. The qualifiers, we had Rory McIlroy, John Rahm, Robert McIntyre, Victor Hovland, Tyrrell Hatton, and Matt Fitzpatrick. All really solid players that have been on a solid run here, obviously. Captain's picks, Tommy Fleetwood, Sepp Straka, Justin Rose, Shane Lowry, and then the 2 young guns, the play for the future here, Nikolai Højgaard and Ludvig Aberg. Again, that not as much of a opportunity for choices on the European side. There wasn't much real debate. It kind of just came down to that last European points qualifying spot, which Big Bob locked up. Obviously, there was some debate about Adrian Moronk. He won the Italian Open here at Marco Simone. Instead, they decided to go with Nikolai Højgaard, take the young guy, get him some experience, and see what happens. and Ludwig winning right beforehand kind of locked up his spot. But like I had felt, and you and I both had talked about all summer long, that we felt like they had to make that pick. So yeah, I mean, this is a much, much younger squad. They've only got 2 guys that have double-digit match experience in the Ryder Cup. They're bringing 4 rookies. It really is an interesting, I think, 12 on 12 here.
Yeah, Ludwig. We've been saying since he kind of turned pro, it was like if this guy even comes out with any kind of pulse on the PGA Tour, just from sheer like lack of depth, like he's the most talented of all the young guys that play, or that are European. There was I don't think there was that much controversy, maybe other than Moronk not making it, which I actually feel like is a bigger. I think that's a bigger controversy than like JT getting picked over, Cam Young and Keegan. Having course history,
I would agree.
as we saw. Like, think about it. We talked about it last episode. Course history is a big thing in these when you start talking about going out and playing 2 matches in a day, or 3 matches in 24 hours. Like, Dustin Johnson had great course history. Now he qualified, last time out, but it showed that course history does mean a lot. And I was very surprised that he got left off. But I also get the pick, taking Højgaard, and we made a pick like that last year, and it turned out to be really, really good. And Scotty Scheffler, obviously very different players. But maybe it'll work out for him. We'll see. But yeah, not a lot of controversy other than maybe that one.
Yeah, totally agree. I guess moving on to pairings, if we want to chat a little bit about some pairings we like, or even if they're not probable to happen, right? Like, we know some JT and Spieth are going to play together. Xander and Cantlay will play together. You're probably going to see Scheffler and Burns. Like, there's some pretty stock squads on the U.S. side specifically,
for sure.
But hell, let's just do this for fun, right? Like, who do we want to see get thrown out there just for the fun of it? I
think, that's. So obviously outside those canned ones that I think everybody's probably pretty much expecting, like I and like the Max and Colin, like, but I would love to see Max and like Brian Harmon for whatever reason. Like they're kind of stone cold killers, man. Like I want to see them out there. And I think they would be, for the record, I don't think it would be the 4-ball matches. I think they would be an unbelievable foursomes match team. Just they kind of just don't get loose with the ball, and they both seem to, at least Brian. I mean, Max is not a bad putter either, but man, they can really, really roll some putts. You tag that with Max's iron play and Brian's putter, that could be just deadly. I think that was kind of the one that stood out to me, and I was, just because I didn't want to go over the canned ones, because not a lot of people are talking about like who Brian Harmon's going to be paired with, who Wyndham Clark's going to be paired with. There's not a lot of discussions about those guys, so that's the one that kind of stuck out to me.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I don't know. I think both of mine involve Max too. It's funny you went to Max as well. Like, I would love to see Max and JT just for like the hype that they would both bring to the event. It honestly might be too much. They'd fly too close to the sun, maybe. But that would be a fun one to see. I'd also love to see Max play with Brooks. Just, I don't know. When Brooks is locked in, I don't know that there's more like, for me, it's hard to find someone more entertaining to watch. And I think if you pair him up with Max in either format, that would just bring out the best in both of them, because they both kind of get in that zone and will just go ball. Outside of that, I mean, like, Spieth fascinates me with anyone just because it's Spieth. I don't know who the best to pair him with maybe is. Maybe a guy like Colin that's a little more solid, but anytime they roll Spieth's name out there, I'm like intrigued by it at least. So
yeah, for sure. Yeah, that wouldn't be a bad team. I mean, we talked about it last week. Dustin 2 years ago, he gave kind of credit to Colin because he was like, "Look, I could go out and play aggressive because I was playing with a guy that is just gonna, he's hit greens and hit things close, so I could kind of go out and do my thing. So, and I kind of feel like that's Jordan Spieth's game, so that wouldn't be a terrible pairing. No, you're right. But I don't know, like who else? I mean, who else would you think? Like, like a Wyndham Clark, right? He's kind of like, I don't know, the odd man out a little bit as far as like we kind of know some of these guys that what they would fit well, but like a Wyndham Clark, I don't know. Like you could pretty much put him with anybody. I think he's kind of like that utility tool. I think that would be a better way to put it.
I don't think this will happen because it's just too much potential. Like there's too much potential downside here. But if you just wanted like pure upside, throw Wyndham Clark and Sam Burns out there in best ball and just let them cook. It might be horrible, but it could be like 12 birdies.
I was gonna say, I feel like that them as a team, it would either be them winning 5 and 4 or them losing 5 and 4. Like I don't. There's no in between. There's definitely not going to be a half. I like that. All right. Do we want to move on to European side?
Let's head over to the Euros. Look, I think Nick mentioned this one last time we were trying to record. Tyrrell Hatton and John Rahm would be awesome just for like the potential anger management issues. So much like just shots being fired everywhere by both of them would be great. I mean, look, I want to see look, we'll get to it later when we talk more about some of our predictions, but give me Ludwig with either Rory or Victor Hovland.
Yeah.
Like, I just think his game matches up so well with both of them. And there's the whole, rookie aspect and, letting Rory's notably had a lot of rookies play with him. And I just think it makes a ton of sense.
100%. Yeah, that would be. I think that was the one that I kind of looked at. I'm like, give me Ludwig and Rory. That would just be that's like a must watch TV. And I will tell you right now, if that's a morning match, I'm setting my alarm for 3 a.m. or whatever the hell time this thing tees off. I think it's actually earlier than that to get up and watch those guys go off. Yeah, Tyrrell and Rahm paired together, beware TV mics because they could all be in serious danger. Justin Rose being like really the absolute veteran. I guess Shane Lowry is too, but Justin Rose I feel like is kind of the face of the team as far as like the veteran side goes for this team. I mean, I guess you can consider Rory a veteran, but I'm talking like older guys. I would love to see him paired up with either like, I'd like to see him with Ludwig. I think that would be pretty cool. You got the old school, the new school. I always thought too, like him and like Tommy Fleetwood would be pretty cool to watch together. I think Tommy Fleetwood's like must watch TV, like just the way he kind of goes about it. He's always got like different clubs in his bag, like whether he's hitting the baby driver, a real driver, he's carrying 2 irons. Like, I think that would be must watch TV as well.
Yeah, I mean, they won't make a single putt, but for some reason, I feel like you could see Tommy and Sepp play together. Like they cannot putt.
No, but they could be
every
like
once in a while.
30...
Sepp does get hot.
Oh yeah, that could be like they could go out and make 12 or 13 birdies. They're kind of like the Wyndham and Sam Burns pairing. Like they're either going to win 5 and 4 or lose 5 and 4, just depending on how hot Sepp Straka gets. So
yeah, that's just 2 really good ball strikers. Honestly, to me for some reason just staring at the names that stood out to me, and I think you're right with the there's 4 Englishmen on the squad. I could see a lot of like, Rose and Fitzpatrick or Rose and Hatton or, you know what I mean? Just trying to go for the vibes or whatever.
Yep.
Yeah. Keep the blokes, the chaps together. Yeah. Outside of that, I think I don't know what you really do with Robert McIntyre.
He's kind of like the Wyndham Clark, right?
I think he's probably going to end up.
He's like the Wyndham Clark. He's kind of like the odd man
him
out.
And Hoygaard.
Yep. Yeah, I'd agree with that. like the
So,
Swiss
all right,
Army.
well, we talked about some
Go ahead,
pairings.
go ahead. Sorry, my bad. I'm cutting you off. Go
You're
ahead.
good.
Go ahead.
I'll say we talked about we talked about pairings. Let's do what are some matchups we want to see. So, I think the ultimate I want to see Rory JT in singles. I think that's the two sort of like the heartbeats of each team. Rory had a bad, tough Ryder Cup last time around. He's looking for redemption. JT, trying to prove his spot on the team. I just think that would be an electric match.
Yeah, I like that one. As far as like if we're talking singles, and I want these rookies to go at it. I want Ludwig, and I want like a Max Homa or even a Wyndham Clark. Like, hey, your best rookie versus Wyndham's not young, but from a standpoint of rising, like he's done it the quickest and the most recent, kind of like Ludwig. Mm-hmm. I'd love to see those guys go after it, just to kind of like, hey, here's our future, here's your future. Like let's measure horses here. I think that would be pretty cool from a standpoint of rookies. But yeah, obviously Rory JT would be again must watch TV. And like a Victor and Chef, Scotty Scheffler going at it would be, look, I know it's against the rules or however they've ever done this, but we need to get into the singles matches and we just need to go, look, let's just give the people what they want to see. Like,
yeah, they do. The President Cup does it right with the whole like, all right, we're going to post a team or a player, and then the other team gets to kind of rebuttal. I think that's the more fun format, but Ryder Cup's a little different. I think too, I don't know who is going to be the best player from the Euro squad, but when it gets down to singles, I want them to have to face Brian Harman so he can just bury putts in their face all day and be like that annoying factor.
Yes, again, for the second time this year, he'll be on foreign soil just putting people out of their misery.
Yeah.
And they can get mad about him being a hunter.
Yeah, that's 100% what I want to see. Right. Some other ones, I mean, like in terms of teams, like there's not like a lot of drama between these guys. I guess maybe, I don't know. Like, is there really anything that would be? There's nothing like the beef with the live stuff's kind of squashed, and there's only one guy here from that, so there's nothing really dramatic there. I just don't see any like fireworks from like a team perspective.
No, other than like, honestly, again, like what you just said, it's not even going to be a player against Brian Harman. It's going to be the fans. Like the fans are coming. It was well noted how much crap they were talking to him, and most of those Scottish fans and things like that, they don't usually cheer against somebody, but they were actively cheering against Brian Harman in the Open this year. It may not be a player against a player like having beef. It might be the fans against Brian Harman again. And for the love of God, you got to roll him out in the morning and like let's just get it over with and let him go out and bury him right off the bat.
Yeah, I think that's a good call out just in general with the fans because I mean, look, they haven't won over in Europe in 30 years, and I think probably a big reason it has to do with the fans and how rowdy it is over there.
Mm-hmm.
I know our fans the last few, there's been the Euro squads complained about some of the stuff that's gone on there, which we don't condone, but that's an advantage when you're hosting the cup, right? You've got the atmosphere on your side, so that'll be interesting to see how much of a advantage that is for Europe.
Yeah.
Well, I think that kind of recaps teams and matches and pairings and whatever else. One thing we did accomplish through our technical difficulties, we did hold a draft between me, you, and Nick. We did a 3-man snake draft, trying to assemble the squad that'll give us the most total points by the end of it. So you're really trying to guess, like, all right, who's going to play the most matches, who might be paired with who, et cetera, et cetera. Put a nice little friendly gentleman's wager on it, right, between us. Winner takes all. We already did the draft, so we can't do that, but figured we kind of run through and recap the squads here. So you had the first pick, I picked second, and Nick picked third. So that means I was getting snaked on either side of me, which was not the best place to be. But first round, you took Scotty. I went with Rory. And then Nick took Rom. So not a surprise. Top three players in the world going, 1, 2, 3.
Chalk.
But then, of course, Nick, right off the bat, I get snaked. I wanted to take Xander with my second pick. He takes him. So this gave me no joy. But I went ahead and took the guy that's going to be playing with Xander most likely, and Patrick Cantlay. And then that set you up for a nice, I think, value pick. You got Hovland with the 6th pick.
I mean, coming off the FedEx Cup championship, I get him at number 6. Yeah. I feel like the best GM in all of sports after that pick.
Yeah, and then I will tell you from there, the rest of your draft, I don't know what happened, but we'll talk about it. You might like it. I was questionable about your picks.
Let's chalk it up to one too many IPAs on Monday night while we were doing this.
Okay. Which I respect that. So yeah, you come around on the snake, you take our king, Jordan Spieth. I grabbed Homa to cleanse my soul from the Cantlay pick. And then Nick comes back with Colin Morikawa and Tommy Fleetwood, a couple of proper ball strikers.
Yep.
On the snake there. I went with this pick in the 4th round purely because I thought someone else would snipe him before it got back to me. I took Ludwig Aberg with my 4th pick. Probably a little reach, but I wanted him on my team.
Yeah. And then
you come back around with your snake, and this is
yeah. Then
sorry, I was gonna say this is where shit got sideways. I think for you.
Yeah. Well, okay. So being the best GM in all of sports, you did you're the second best. You did the right thing. You took Ludwig because he was not going to make it back around to you. I was gonna snake him on the next pick, but I decided to go back around. I got Ricky because my boy Ricky, he's breakout year coming back. Like he's fully back, and then Bob McIntyre. Hey,
he's just out of luck.
Look, I'm gonna say this, and this is more to like jinx him and the European team. Breakout, like low key, gonna be a breakout player in this Ryder Cup, just like my boy Wiesberger was at Whistling Straits.
So you're gonna burn him here.
Yep.
Unreal. Fifth pick for me felt like a little bit of a heart, but also maybe some value if he does show up. JT like that. Nick swung back around with Brooks Koepka and Tyrrell Hatton to take his 5th and 6th spots. Now we kind of got into some territory where it's like, well, there's a lot of rookies. It's a lot of question marks in terms of form. I grabbed who I thought it was the best player left on the board, Matt Fitzpatrick. He has not had a good Ryder Cup record, so I could get totally proven wrong by that, but felt like a good pick for me there. And then you coming back around on the snake, I don't hate either of these picks in the 6th and 7th. I mean, you got Harman and Rose. Not bad.
Look, this is like drafting Tom Brady in the 7th round, right? Like, I think these are value. These things are either going to put me in the Hall of Fame or they're going to get me canned. Okay. But I feel like those picks are Brian Harman is I think he's a guy that they're gonna roll him out in the morning the first day. And if he plays well, he's going to continue to play. But if he doesn't play well, he's not going to continue to play. Like, he's only going to play 3 times, probably until singles matches. He might not. If he doesn't play well in the morning, he might only play one. He might only play 2 matches. Like, he might play 3 total matches if he doesn't play well.
I was gonna ask you, do you think there's anybody on the U.S. squad that's only going to play twice?
I think Sam Burns might be that person.
Okay.
I think Scotty's going to play almost every session, and one per, like, I think he might get thrown out there on like Saturday morning with Scotty, and then it's like, hey, you get a break, and then you're going to play the singles match. I don't think they trust him enough to roll him out there. Maybe they do. Maybe Scotty talks him into like, hey, this is my boy. I want him out here, for 3 or 4 matches. But I find that hard to believe.
Yeah, I don't. I feels to me like I don't know if the math works out on this, but it seems like they're not really anyone's going to play 5, and no one's going to not play 3. That just kind of feels like the vibe I'm getting, especially with this course. All you hear about is how tough a walk it is, and the rough's really thick and all that. But I could definitely see. I think you're right. It's probably like either Burns or Harmon. I mean, Ricky's been playing kind of shitty. I could see it being Ricky if he's not playing well, but yeah.
But Zach has
I think the Europeans are more likely to have guys.
Yeah, the European team definitely. I mean, like Bob McIntyre, if he goes out and lays an egg in his first match, like he may not play again until singles. So, which is kind of tough for my team. But as Zach said, he was like, a lot of this is predetermined based on statistics and analytics and stuff like that. But like, they're not going to keep rolling a guy out there that's not playing well. If they get a feeling that this guy's just off, like they're not going to keep rolling him out there for, to just get absolutely shellacked. So I think there's going to be a lot of changing and stuff like that, if you get a Ricky that goes out and it's like, he's not been playing well. Oh man, he's not playing well here. Like we got to get him out of there. I could see that happening. So to your thing, I think you're right. I think you're going to have most everybody's going to play 3. I don't think you're going to have really anybody to play 5, maybe one person. Like 2 years ago, we had one person play all 5 matches. But, I guess we'll see. I think the only way someone plays 5 matches is if there is truly like a weak link or a couple weak links in the team. And that goes for both teams, where they're just like, hey, or a team's dominating, like we have to have them play every session. So, but back to the picks. We kind of got off track there. I took Brian Harmon and then wrapped it back around with Justin Rose.
Yep. And then speaking of Burns, that's who I took here with my 7th pick. I was like, I guess I'll hitch my wagon to Scotty just in case they play together a bunch. We'll go with Burns. Nick swung back to round his team out with Wyndham Clark and Shane Lowry. That left either Straka or Højgaard for me. I took Straka, and you wound up with Højgaard as the last man, Mr. Irrelevant.
Which I don't think it's surprising that he was the last pick, just for what it's worth.
No. So, yeah, I mean, feels like they're all pretty balanced. We'll see. I think it's just going to come down to whoever gets, breaks lucky and gets the most matches played, has the most opportunities for points. So we'll see how it all shakes out. We'll track it as we go. Maybe throw it out there and give the people some updates on Instagram.
For sure. Absolutely.
All righty. Prediction time?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, I got a couple categories for us to run through before we make a final prediction. First question, I'll throw each of these to you first, and then I'll follow up. Actually, first, I lied. I'll give you what Nick said, and then I'll throw it to you. MVP for this Ryder Cup. Nick gave me JT. Who would your MVP? Who's your prediction for MVP?
Man, it's so tough. I don't want to say the same answer. But if I'll go someone different, I will. I think Brooks is going to kind of play the role of Dustin Johnson did 2 years ago, where coming off a good year, and I think he's going to play well, and I could see him going 3 or 4-0. I think he's going to play 4 matches, so I could see him easily going 4-0 for sure. So I'll go outside the box here and say Brooks Koepka.
Interesting. I like that call, though. That's an unexpected one. This is probably going to give away my prediction at the end here, but I'm going to take Rory McIlroy. I think he bounces back from 2021 Ryder Cup after the teary-eyed interview with Jimmy Roberts. I think he maybe found his passion. He'll, the old guard's gone. He officially is sort of the elder statesman of the team in terms of experience played. I think he's going to take on a serious role and have the golf to back it up this time.
For sure. Yeah, that's not a bad pick. You're hedging your bets.
Hedging my bets. Yeah. Bold call. So this was there's a theme here for Nick's picks. He also goes with JT. He claims that JT is just going to find it. Absolutely the ultimate showman in this type of event. And he already picked him as MVP. His bold call is that JT is going to get off the mat and dominate. So what do you got?
Wow. Way to go outside the box with these. Man, I'm gonna tell you. This is way outside the box. Way outside the box. Our boy Zach Johnson's going to outcoach Luke Donald on his own turf. That's my call. He's going to out-savvy him, and I think it's going to come down to making gut decisions. I feel like Zach has always been a kind of an outside the box golfer. He's not the prototypical golfer, prototypical swing. I think Luke Donald's going to he's going to go chalk with a lot of stuff and maybe not go outside the box with a lot of his pairings. I think if the U.S. and I do think they'll get down at some point, not bad, but I think they'll get down, and I think Zach's going to make the adjustments. You're going to see some different pairings that you're like, this is definitely an adjustment because we didn't expect this, right? I'll go. That's what I'm going to go with.
Interesting. Yes, I could see it go in different ways because, in one hand, Zach has more tools to work with just based on the depth of the team than Luke does. But honestly, that could make things simpler for Luke. He's got to roll out his studs and just go with it. Whereas Zach could maybe, make a decision here or there that kind of trips things up just because he has the options available to him.
Yeah, it's going to be like a real miracle on ice situation. I think he's going to get out there and he's going to outcoach the other team. But with better players this time.
Yeah. All right. My bold call, going out on a bit of a limb here. Talked about it. This is why I drafted him where I drafted him. I'm saying Ludwig Aberg plays 4 matches and he goes unbeaten in those 4 matches. Not saying he's going to go 4-0. He's not going to win all of them, but he doesn't lose. Could be 2-0-2. Could be 0-0-4. I don't know. But my guy's going out there 4 times, and he's not going to lose.
I like that. Again, outside the box, everybody's picking JT to be the comeback kid and play well. So I like that.
Yeah, and like I mentioned, I have a feeling he's going to get paired up with Rory, and if Rory's my MVP, I think he's bringing Ludwig along with him. So we'll see how that goes. Added this one to the agenda from last time. Favorite bet? Got anything? If you looked at the odds board, you've been checking anything out? I know the tournament itself, I think Europe's plus 125, USA is minus 120 to win, but there's tons of props out there, so I know you had to take a look.
Yeah, I did. So my favorite bet, and I'm gonna kind of stick with what I just said. I like Brooks Koepka for top U.S. point scorer at plus 700. I feel like that's good value. Scotty, I thought about Scotty, but the plus 450 just doesn't seem like enough payout for a bet that could really just go a lot of different ways. So I like the plus 700 on Brooks to be the top U.S. point scorer.
Nice. No, I like that. Look, I was circling all kinds of stuff throughout, and I should have got in last week on some Ludwig stuff because his odds have dropped in a lot of the markets. So last week he was plus 1,200 plus 1,200 to be top captain's pick. He's down to plus 800, and he went from plus 400 to plus 350 as top rookie. So I kind of liked him in those markets, but I think I'm going to stay away. My MVP is Rory. He's also plus 450 to be the top Euro, mirroring Scotty's odds. Don't like that much either. I hit the same market you did, top USA, but I'm going to hedge my bet, and I want to bet both Cantlay at plus 600 and Xander at plus 650. I think between the two of them, I think they have the best chance to go 5 matches. So I just want to try to hop on the back of a horse that's going to potentially play 5. So
Yeah, I like that. If we're talking total point scorer, I would like Victor Hovland. I think he's going to get rolled out a lot, and they're only. I mean, if you look at top point scorer for both teams, yeah, you can get Rory at plus 900. You can get Victor at plus 1,000. So not that far off. If you paired both of them, I think one of them could easily hit for sure. Again, the Scotty Scheffler.
Yeah, I mean, I like the Victor a lot.
Yeah, and Scotty Scheffler. I mean, like I get it, world number one, things like that, but it just seems too easy. Like it's just good. It's just it almost seems too easy that it's like it's not going to be him. You know. So I don't know.
Yeah, for sure. All right, that was favorite bet. I can't believe we overlooked this one before. We usually do this as a retroactive award. I want to make some predictions for who might need the back 9 6-pack after next week, or during the week, I suppose. Nick, this is what I texted him before this and asked him again with the JT call.
Jeez.
His point was he's either going to be out of his mind celebrating and needs it, or he's going to just be shitting the bed everywhere and needs to drown himself in his sorrows. He took him. He felt like he had 2 different outs to this one, so I respect it.
I like that. I'm going back to the coach's corner here. I think Luke Donald's going to need it after he loses the first Ryder Cup and many tries on European soil. He's definitely going to need some drinks after that.
Yeah, that's a good call. If you think U.S. is winning, that's a pretty good choice. For me, look, it's a big ballpark, long walk, hilly walk. You know, somebody that fell down at the last Ryder Cup down a hill. the thick, hefty Irishman, Shane Lowry. I think we could see some struggles out of the big guy. You know, he's not making putts. It's a hard walk. You know, look, you've had experience on a hilly golf course. You know, it's sometimes you got to lay down and stretch your back out.
A lot of fat shaming going on tonight. I don't know if I like it, but I do like the fact that we've both fallen on the golf course in the last couple of years.
Yeah, so I'm gonna go with Shane Lowry. I think from both a golf perspective and just a physical test, he might need a few pints.
That was a very PC to way to put that a physical test. Oh, I like it.
Look, you might be uncancelable on your own. I gotta do some work to make sure I don't get canceled.
I'll say it because fat guys can make fun of each other. He's gonna struggle on this course, being as fat as he is. Let's just call it what it is. And that's all love from one fat guy to another.
All right.
So.
All love. All right, we're gonna combo these next 2. We did this for a couple of the majors this year too. We tried to write the Monday morning headline after the event. So I'm gonna need your headline and a final score prediction. First, let me give you Nick's. His headline was Redemption in Rome. He's taking the U.S. to win 15.5 to 12.5. His comment was he just feels like the depth of the team again will win out for the U.S. squad. So he thinks they're getting it done. 30 years in the making.
All right. You want my headline? You want my prediction first?
Yep.
So
you can give it to me both ways, however you want.
So I think it's gonna. I want to put a score on this, just for fun, but I think it's gonna be really close. I could see it as being as close as what was it? Celtic Manor, I think was like 15.5, 14.5, I believe. I like that, but in favor of the United States, I think they're gonna get a close win. My headline would be: the U.S. team is no longer roaming for a win in Europe.
I see what you did there. I'm always a big fan of some wordplay. I appreciate it.
Hey, I I knew you'd like that, but I've been thinking about that for about 2 weeks since we've been talking about doing these two shows. But yeah.
Nice. For me, going a little bit against the grain of this podcast, my headline: 4 more years, because that's how long it's going to be till the U.S. gets to try again to win on European soil. I'm taking the closest of close Ryder Cups. I think Europe wins 14.5, 13.5. Exactly the points they need to get it done. I think it's just there's something about Europe.
What are the total points? I might have screwed that up. I was trying to go for the same as Celtic Manor, which I think was split by a 1 point. It might have been 15-14. Maybe that's what it was. But okay, so I was off.
There's 28 total points.
Okay, so
yeah, there's 28 total points. So it was either 15-13 or 14.5, 13.5.
I think it was 14.5, 13. It was split by 1 point. So yeah. So 14.5, 13.5 for me. So that's close. I mean, I think we're on the same track. I really, really do think this is going to be razor thin. I don't think we see a France from 4 years ago or 5 years ago, I guess, at this point.
Which I really hope so. We're due for a close one. It's been since Celtic Manor that one of these has been close. It's kind of been just back and forth beatdowns, honestly.
For sure. Yeah, we're due for a close one.
Well, Europe winning 14.5, 13.5 is plus 1,300 for the degens out there like me who would potentially wager on an exact score bet. So
I'm going to place mine. So but I'm also a degenerate. So
I just can't wait for the daily matchup. That's where it's all about. I'm such a sucker for matchup parlays.
But you do realize that to do the morning ones, you're probably just not going to have to go to bed. I mean, for realistically, like you're just going to have to, but I guess they'll probably come out before the next day. But I mean, look, if I'm betting on something, I want to watch it. So I'm going to have a serious.
I think they're going to happen. They're going to happen later in the day than you think, because they're going to play them like afternoon time over there. So it's probably going to be like mid-morning for us.
No.
It's only like a 6-hour difference.
Yeah, but the morning matches...
I don't want to look this up.
The morning matches start
at
7 a.m.
Yeah.
So they can get 2 matches in a day.
They got to fit into... Yeah.
So
I wasn't thinking about the 2 waves.
That's 1 a.m. So it's going to be a tough scene for a lot of us at work on Friday, because who cares about the weekend? Like, you can be tired on the weekend, but Friday at work is going to be tough.
Well, that's why they invented work from home, right?
Yeah, exactly.
All right, well, we think it's going to be a close one, a fun one. Hopefully that gives everybody an idea who hasn't had a chance to keep up with what's been going on, to get a little preview for what's going to happen next week. And with that, I think it's officially time. Can't do an episode without going to the patio. Obviously, anything goes. Who's asking first, me or you?
I'll go. Because Nick went, and I think Nick went when I was supposed to go first. So this we've had similar questions to this, but this is an all-ranging question that kind of encompasses all sports. You can pick anybody. If you could have anybody's specific athletic ability, like specific to it can't be like, oh, I want to be a basketball player like Steph Curry. No, like I want to shoot the ball like Steph Curry. If you could pick one athletic ability, what would it be?
Oh man,
from a specific athlete, like what I just said.
Yeah. I think because I'm too logical, I would take whatever sport is going to end up getting me the most money, right? So I'm thinking, I don't follow baseball that well, but whoever the best pitcher is, let me throw it like they throw it. So you make $5 million.
So you want to be like Ohtani, right? Like I mean,
Sure. Yeah, there you go.
he's soon to be
Well,
probably
he
going to
just
be
tore
the
his
highest
ACL,
paid.
but
Yeah, but he's soon going to be the highest paid athlete and probably in the world for all I know. I mean, he's going to get so much money when he leaves the Angels that it's not even going to be funny. But I was thinking baseball too, because obviously, one, their contracts are 100% guaranteed. If they tell you they're going to pay you $350 million, you're getting $350 million. Now, it might not be. You might be like on the Griffey plan where you're still getting paid like 1.5 million from the Reds until you're 55 years old, but that contract's getting paid out regardless. But I kind of figured that you might take baseball because your brain goes that way, just as far as like who would be the highest paid.
Yeah.
I would want to dunk like Michael Jordan, like dunk, not hold all the other stuff, but like him or like I don't know, Spud Webb was like he's shorter like me and he could dunk, right? So like I think dunking like Michael Jordan. I've always wanted to dunk a basketball. I thought that would be like you can just you can do your own YouTube channel if you're just sitting there dunking. And I know that's something I'll never be able to do, like ever, ever, ever. Not saying you could ever throw a baseball 100 miles an hour, but I think you have more of a chance of doing that than I do of dunking. So
Probably. I thinking through like some honorable mentions, it would be pretty sick to be the fastest man in the world. So running like Usain Bolt would be a pretty sweet skill to have. But yeah, I mean, I think it's like whoever the best pitcher is, give me their arm and their fastball, I guess.
Yeah, I guess if I had to do an honorable mention, since I'm doing something that would probably get me paid, NBA is another league that just they get insane money, and it's all guaranteed. That's kind of why I went that direction originally. But
and you can make a full on career. You could be a full on career of just like being a spot up shooter. So I mean, if you just take Steph Curry shooting, you're going to be on a team for 15 years
forever. Yeah, but if I had to do an honorable mention, I think I would do something a little more noble, kind of along the lines that you're talking about, because while Olympic athletes can be paid and they have sponsorships and stuff like that, you see all these when they win gold medals, they're on Wheaties boxes and stuff like that. So they make money, but not nearly what like an NBA player is making or a Major League Baseball player is making. But I thought it would be like really cool to be like a really good swimmer because that's like the sport in the Olympics that no one follows other than the Olympics. Like we all know who Michael Phelps is. We all know who Ryan Lochte is. Like we all know who these guys are, and no one watches that sport outside of the Olympics. So for once, 2 weeks out of every 4 years in the summer, you're just going to be like a gigantic star. And U.S. swimming has always seemed to be really, really good. So I thought that would be like, if I'm going the noble route, maybe not the money route, I thought that would like swimming like Michael Phelps would be really cool.
Yeah, that would be legit. You're right. Just racking up Olympic medals. There's team events too, so it's like you're not just a solo pursuit. Like, yeah, it's pretty.
That was the noble route. I just don't want everybody to think I'm like a greedy asshole or something. So,
right. All right, my question is going to set us up for failure unless you happen to see this. I'm not a big Barstool fan, but my brother-in-law, shout out Joe, he wears his Patio Beers hat too all the time. Sent us a post. They posted today. They created a bracket of like the worst convos that you can get into.
Oh God!
And so they've got them ranked 1 through 16. Obviously, so like 1 and 16 play each other, so on and so forth. But I wanted to say or bring this up because I felt like some of them were like criminally underseeded, at least from my perspective. So I don't even know if this is a question as much as just a discussion, but I don't know how I should do this. Do you want me to actually read all these off?
Yeah, read them off. Well, disclaimer on this first, right? Complete disclaimer. There are not many conversations that I feel weird in. I think we can all admit that. So
you're a good test case for this,
I actually think I might be a good judge of this because I'll be able to determine ooh, I would even feel weird in that situation. It might be a really good judge of this. So Just
All right.
run them
Well, I'll
down
just
the
have
list.
you can fill out this bracket then. Yeah. All right. 1 seed versus 16. 1 seed, anything involving politics versus 16, getting stuck with your girlfriend's friend's shitty boyfriend.
Oh man, as much as I want to say one, you know how I don't feel uncomfortable talking politics ever. I've talked like kidding. Obviously, I'm not going to do this, but I've always talked about running for a political position. I'm gonna have to go because like I've seen that conversation that can just be weird. I think I'm gonna go with a first round upset here. I think I'm gonna go with the 16 seed.
I agree with you. This is one of the ones I feel like is way underrated, like way underseeded.
That's gotta be.
All right.
I mean, that should be at least a 4 seed. I would think, but.
All right, so here's number 8, which this one got a lot of buzz online, but I don't think it's that big of a deal. When you can't remember the other person's name versus the 9 seed, parents talking about their kids. Which I think the 8 wins personally.
It does, and here's why. I am very, very bad with people's names. Like they'll say their name, like obviously golfing and tournaments and stuff. They'll be like, "Yeah, my name's Joe," and then I'm like, I'll get off the first tee box and go, "What the hell was that guy's name again?" And I feel so bad because they're like, they'll call me by my name for like 4 holes, and then I'll have to ask a playing competitor, like, what's his name again? Like, oh yeah, 8 wins that for sure. I do get annoyed by people talking about their kids too much. Like I talk about my kids, but when it's just like over, above, and beyond, that's when it gets annoying.
I guess that's true. I guess it depends on the nature of the conversation. All right, 5-12 matchup. Number 5, friend complaining about an ex. 12, leaving at the same time as someone and going in the same direction.
This
is a 12-5 upset for me all the way.
Yeah, 12. That is how I don't feel awkward in many situations, but like it's like when you say goodbye and then you walk out the door together and you're like, "Fuck, I already said goodbye." Like, what am I supposed to say now? Like, "Oh, goodbye again." Like, oh yeah, 12-5 upset here for sure. Not even close.
Yeah, that's another one it felt was underseeded. 4 versus 13. This is again another underseeding in my opinion. 4 is any really sad story. 13, when you join a Zoom call too early.
You know what? I'm going chalk here because I've been in Zoom calls too early and I just chat it up. Like I don't feel awkward in that situation. I'm like, "Oh, hey, what's up?" Like, like yeah, it doesn't bother me. 13 doesn't bother me too much. 4 does slightly, but it's close, but I think 4 is the winner here.
13 is horrifying for me. Like 1 is an introvert and just having to like create conversation with a computer screen.
Virtually,
and Zoom conversations are just awkward anyway. Yeah, virtual is always more awkward than in person. So, yeah, 13 is moving on for me. 3 seed versus 14. 3 seed, someone telling you about their minor medical issues. 14, this will hit close to home for you. Dealing with sales associates.
Oh. I don't know.
This is
like
a close one, I think.
The minor medical one, only because I'm a recent recipient of a vasectomy. Not to get into this conversation right now, but yeah, the whole like I've been at like multiple parties where like a man is just like randomly brought up like their vasectomy story, and I'm like, this got really weird really quickly. Like I don't need I've been through it. I don't need to know about it. And I think that's like, that falls into like the minor medical problem category. So as much as I want to choose 14, I'm going to go 3 here.
Yeah. I think both are tough, especially depending on how pushy the salesperson is. But I do think there is something like, if it's truly just a minor medical thing, like, it's hard to like work up the empathy and like the fake
Oh, I'm
like
so
sympathy
sorry.
for someone. Yeah,
Yeah, like, oh, I'm
that's
so
tough.
sorry. Yeah, like that sounds horrible, and it's like it's not. Like it's not like they have cancer or something crazy like that. But they're expecting that reaction. That's I think that's super weird.
Yeah. All right, you got to tread lightly on this one. The 6-11 matchup. Ta- Talking about bets or fantasy. That's a 6 seed. Uh, 11 seed. Talking to a real estate agent.
uh, you know what? It's funny. Like most of the real estate agents I talk to on a daily basis have become my friends. So I'm gonna go ahead and rule that one out right
Yeah.
now. Yeah, it's definitely the one about. I look. We all. I think it depends on what group you're in. Like if you're in a group of like your really close friends, like talking about your fantasy league that they're probably in, or the bets you have, like that's pretty. But the guy, I think this more falls in line with the guy that like just shows up to a party and like a team like has a miracle win and like, oh yeah, I had them plus 6.5, and you're like, no, you fucking didn't. You just said it after they won. Like, you know what I mean? Like, no, you didn't. Like, I hate that. I'm throwing that guy into that category. That is 100% the one I cannot stand. Like, oh, you just happen to have that money line. Oh, that magically after a minute after the game's over, you had them money line. I'm sure you did. Yeah, that drives me insane.
Yeah, that one's close for me because I don't really have a problem with either situation. And I love the real estate agent we've worked with in the past. So I guess 6 wins just because that can be more annoying. So moving on, 7 versus 10. Number 7, running into an X. All time tough conversation. 10, when your friend leaves you alone at a party. 10 takes this for me.
Yeah, because you're just being a slight introvert
I'm a
like that's
wallflower.
yeah, you'd just be sitting over there by yourself. 10 would be ideal for me. Like,
Pulling out my phone.
yeah, 10 would be ideal for me. I want my friends to leave me at parties. Like, I usually get pulled out of them. But yeah, I would say it's definitely probably running into an X would be awkward.
Yeah, I get it. All right, final matchup 2 versus 15. Number 2, someone telling you about their dream. Number 15, talking to the cashier. I think 2 wins easy.
No, yeah, 2 wins easy. Because I actually enjoy talking to cashiers all the time. Like, it's it's kind of a thankless job. And, I'm always that guy
Yeah,
that's like, man, I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Like, get me through this line. Like, I'll make it awkward, So I make it awkward. So it's not awkward as it is. So, yeah, two's definitely an easy winner there.
all right. Do we want to continue this,
Yeah,
or
let's run it
do you
down.
have
We
one
got
to
to get
sit?
a winner now.
All right, all right. We picked number 16, getting stuck with your girlfriend's friend's shitty boyfriend, versus number 8, when you can't remember the person's name.
I'm going to say it's going to be 8 for me here because this is just that hits way too close to home. Like, just the name thing just hits way too close to home for me. I've been in those situations way too many times and blatantly messed it up. So I'm going to go 8.
See, I'd have 16 in the final 4 here for me.
Oh
So,
God. Okay.
all right. This one we came up. Okay, the 12 seed, leaving at the same time as someone and going in the same direction.
Yeah, we were pretty unison in
And we
that.
were split on the so that, and then we were split on the any really sad story or when you join the Zoom call too early.
I still think it's the
I think
leaving.
12 would be moving on against either of these.
I think it's a Cinderella story here for the 12 seed because I hate that. I absolutely hate that.
Yeah, so your final 4 on that side. You've got the not remembering the person's name versus leaving at the
Leaving
same time as someone going in the same direction.
All right, where are we at in the bottom here?
And I've got it up against the other half of the bracket. So we chose the someone telling you about minor medical issues versus talking about bets or fantasy.
Huh. That's a tough one. I think it's betting guy for me. The betting conversation.
Oh,
That's a blatant lie. Like that, because I think this is falling into that category. Like the blatant lie about a bet you had and how much money you won on it or whatever drives me insane. That's why I take screenshots of all the crazy bets I've won, because I'm like, look, I can pull it up and show you a screenshot of my account when I won it. Like, I'm not lying, but like, if you called one of them out on that, like, they're not going to have that proof. So, yeah, I'm going betting conversation.
yeah, I think this is the weakest quadrant. And I think I'll take the 3 seed, someone telling you about their minor medical issues. I feel like I can fake it through the bet conversation better. So I'd rather be in that one. Worst combos in the bottom, I had when your friend leaves you alone at the party, but you had the running into an ex. And we both agreed someone telling you about their dream was moving on. So I
Oh,
think from
yeah.
this quadrant, for me, I'm going to go with when your friend leaves you alone at the party. That would be mine to advance to the final 4.
I'm gonna go with someone. You said someone telling about their dream. Is that the
Yeah,
other
you have
choice?
that against running into an ex.
Oh,
That's
the
your
dream
choice.
one for sure. Like,
Okay.
yeah, the dream one moves on. That we didn't really talk about that one much, but because I think it had a pretty easy first round matchup. But
Yeah.
like, I don't need to know about how I was in your dream or something weird like that. Like, I don't need to know that. That's the conversation that gets real weird. They're like, "You were in my dream last night." I'm like, "No, thanks." Like, next time, wake up when I am in your dream, so I don't have to hear about it.
Yeah. That's not good. All right. Your final 4. Let's get your winner out of this bunch of horrible conversations. All right. You had can't remember someone's name versus leaving at the same time. Who wins that?
Oh, this is a tough matchup. This is what they say on TV when you're watching the Final Four, and they're like, "This is pretty much the championship game." I think this is that situation. But again,
Okay.
the name thing hitting so close to home, like so often for me, that's got to be it. That's and the worst part
Okay.
is like I'm bad at it and my wife is bad at it. So it's like I don't even have someone to fall back on at a party if we're going to one where it's like, do you remember their name? She's like, no, I don't remember the name. So it's like I don't even have a fallback plan on one of those. So that's gonna get to the final for me.
All right. From the other side, you had talking about the bets or fantasy versus someone telling you about their dream.
The dream moves on. I think it's a close game, but I think the dream moves on. It's just again kind of a weird because they're not
Yeah.
telling you the
All
truth
right. So
about the whole information. So
I'm gonna assume you have when you can't remember the other person's name as your champion.
that's my champion. It's not even close. Like that this happened way too many times to me.
Do you have a go-to to what you call somebody when you don't remember their name?
Buddy, pal. Actually, probably pal more than buddy. Like
Oh
it's.
God, so disrespectful.
I did it for about 8 holes at the Met this year. I forgot the one guy's name and I just kept calling him pal. Like, oh, good shot, pal. And he was like, so we get to
Oh,
like the 15th hole and he goes, I haven't heard that much. He goes, I love when people call people pal. He's like, I haven't heard that in a while. I'm like, oh, okay. Okay. Well, that's your name. Like, that's not a nickname. Like, that's how I know you. And if I see you tomorrow, I'm going to call you pal again because I'm not going to remember your name. So,
oh my God, so bad. All right, my final 4 was leaving at the same time as someone versus getting stuck with your girlfriend's friend's shitty boyfriend. I'm taking leaving at the same time as someone and going in the same direction. That's going to my championship game. And then I think I had medical issues versus when your friend leaves you alone at the party. When your friend leaves you alone at the party is moving on. I've got a 10 versus 12. And I think, God, it's so tough. These both suck. I think it's when your friend leaves you alone at the party for me. Because when you leave somewhere at the same time as someone, at least you're probably like, it's like at work, right? It's like someone you see all the time or whatever.
And it's temporary. And it's temporary too. It's like it could be
there's no
it could be a 2-minute walk. You could be stuck at the party for hours by yourself, for all we know.
Exactly. Well, it's not even that, but it's like the rando that comes up to you and, it's a fringe guy comes up to you and then you're just stuck in a 2-hour conversation with a fringe guy. That's my nightmare. That's by far the worst one for me.
I had a feeling that was going to win for you. Absolute Cinderella story, by the way. Coming out of nowhere.
Yeah, 10 versus 12. Well, 3 of my final 4 all came down to me being stuck somewhere with someone I don't want to be with.
Real people person you are.
Yeah, I know. All right, that was a fun exercise. I'm glad I saw that. Shout out to Joe for sending that along.
That was a lot of fun. And again, like, I don't get awkward in many situations like that, but like it kind of, there's definitely clearly there's a couple that I get awkward with because I felt very strongly about a few of those. So
for sure. All right, and with that, I think we're going to wrap it up for this week. We'll get this one out there so everyone's got some good time to listen ahead. Probably won't do an episode next Monday, but I think we might do some experimentation during the Ryder Cup. Maybe we do a little Instagram live or a little short podcast or something Saturday.
No, we'll
figure something out.
We're definitely doing something like that, whether you like it or not. Even if I have to leave the building at the same time as you to make you feel real awkward.
All right, that's fine. Yeah, maybe we'll do a little Saturday night, heading into Sunday, draft point check, recap of what's happened, going into singles. So we'll figure it out. But yeah, with that, thanks everybody for listening. Subscribe if you're not already subscribed. Leave us a review if you haven't done that yet. Justin still got hats. Hit us up for some hats.
Yeah, I need these out of my car. There's not many left. I need these boxes out of my car. It's already a wreck. These are just adding to the clutter. I did sell one last week, and I need to get that out to them. But for the love of God, get these boxes out of my car. That's my plea. Yeah. That's my sales pitch.
Final shout out to my buddy Tyler, his wife and daughter. They're coming up this weekend from Tampa, so I've got his hat here. I'm going to finally deliver to him. He's already paid, so again, appreciate him. So, all right, it's Ryder Cup time in about a week.
Love it. Let's do it.
Love it.
Go USA.
All right. Cheers.
See ya. Thank you for listening to another episode of the Back 9 Sixpack. Be sure to follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Back 9 Sixpack for all your content needs. We'll see you guys next week. Cheers.